All right, so back to Altas Atzma Ka'echa, the Yonim, we're talking about lawyers. So you're saying that they're always on eggshells, and in a good way, because the emphasis everybody should be that way. Everybody should be careful what the way they behave.
Besides the character fitness committee, there's also it's called a CLE, continual legal education requirements, which every 2 years you got to do a certain amount of classes and certify.
Because different laws change.
Those are so certain classes have to be in ethics, which you must do in ethics, and the rest you could be in any area of law. And to show that you continue your education in the law, you must recertify every 2 years.
Okay, so before I ask you about the comparison of Torah and Lahavdil secular based on Shulchan Aruch, you as a Fruma Yid, what do you see the first thing that shocked you or not shock you, the differences or the comparisons between what you know growing up as a Fruma Yid and when you got to, when you opened your eyes and you saw what the secular world, what did you find interesting?
I think the main thing we have in the secular world is the jury system, which is very unique to this country, which you don't have a clown in the Torah at all. That regular people come and decide, they're the ultimate decider of the fact, decide if someone's guilty or not guilty. Whether it's dini mamanis or in a criminal case, any type of case. It's the jury that decides. Regular lay people from within the jurisdiction decide whether a person's guilty or not.
And I don't know if it's a fair question to ask. You feel that works?
Well, it's part of the adversarial system, meaning it's up to the attorneys to pick out the best jurors suitable for the case. So sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, but do you feel that's the best way to solve a case? Is it the most solid way to come to the honest conclusion?
Generally, it is, yes. Because you have the judge that narrows what the jury has to figure out. The judge decides which law applies to the case, and the jury decides what the facts are and whether the person is guilty or not. They apply the laws as given them by the judge.
So who comes first, the jury or the judge?
The judge first gives them instructions. The judge is constantly giving instructions to the jury from the beginning to the end. In the beginning, he tells them what the role is, what the standard burden of proof is, what the burden of proof is, who has the burden of proof, and how the trial progresses, and what the state of the trial is. And then at
I
the
hope
end,
you don't use the word "seder" trial, do you?
No.
That never slips out a yeshivish word in the middle of trial?
No.
Never.
The order of the trial.
Okay.
Well, sometimes it does,
Yeah.
depending who the judge is.
You have any Fruma Yidden judges?
Or from Eden or judges that grew up from the communities.
Are there Fruma Yidden judges?
Yes.
Really? In Brooklyn, there's a Fruma Yid judge?
Not so much in criminal courts or in the Supreme Criminal Court, but more in civil courts. There are from the judges.
And you've been in front of them?
I don't think so. But more judges that grew up traditionally or were going that grew up from the community.
Have you ever said "oy vey" in courtroom?
No, you try to limit emotional reactions.
All right, so I always bring up that there's a couple of obvious differences between Torah and Lahavdil secular. Moshe Adam, we spoke about this yesterday, that there's a whole list of Adam that Al Pi Torah are disqualified. We don't even allow them to be accepted as aid. Whereas you said yesterday, why not accept them and just let the jury or the lawyer disqualify them? Which Lamashal is a karev, a relative, a apostle, somebody who's a ganev, somebody who's a friend, whatever. I mean, there's a whole list of them. Shulchan Aruch says. You're saying that the law is anybody could be an aid, and let the jury just disqualify them. Is that right?
I mean, generally the rule is anyone that swears, but anyone that understands the oath, the difference that they could tell the difference between lying and telling the truth, is cautious to be an aid. Especially in New York, other states are different.
What like you know anything else?
Other states, I think, have specific age requirements or things like that.
Oh, so what age in New York? What could
I don't recall the exact age, but generally the rule is that if they're swearable, you need to understand the difference between what the oath means, that they're required to say the truth, and the consequence of not saying the truth. The cautious to be vague.
What's the youngest witness you ever brought up?
maybe early teenagers that I've dealt with, not younger than that. But in New York, there's something called the criminal jury instructions, meaning that every type of witness, there's instructions that applies to that witness. Whether the witness has given a previous inconsistent statement to the testimony he's giving now, so the judge instructs the jury how are they to weigh that witness, testimony of that witness, whether it's someone that is related, family relation to the person at trial, whether it's someone that has a financial relation, business relation to the person who's on trial, or whether the defendant himself testifies.
So they could be brought. Halachically, that most of those that list we can't even bring.
Right. Well, the person who's most at stake at the case is the defendant himself, right? And he's allowed to testify in the case.
Not by us. Not according to Torah.
So the defendant himself cannot testify. Someone's accused of someone else of taking money. The person who's
He's
being
not,
accused
he's not an aide. He's not an aide. He obviously he's going to say is what happened, but he's not a witness. He responds, but he's not an aide. That's not a testimony.
Okay. So even if he testifies, that's the most. It's called an interested witness. He has an interest in the outcome of the case. Versus an uninterested witness, time a bystander in the street who's walking by and he saw a robbery, who has no interest in anything that goes on in the case. But the judge instructs the jury about that this person is an interested witness, and they could take that into consideration in their deliberations, whether to believe him or not. They can either discredit his entire testimony or credit certain amounts of his testimony, but it's up to them. But as long as they know that this person is an interested witness.
What's the rule? One of the things that we learn in Hilchos Eidos, the Torah says, "Im lo yagid v'nasa avayna." If somebody has testimony about a certain event that can help out to settle a case, and he's asked to say testimony, Shulchan Aruch says you don't have to offer your services, but if you're asked to come, "Im lo yagid v'nasa avayna." What does the law say about that?
So,
first of all, you have to offer your services. If you know, what's it? He's being.
I think no one has.
If you witness a crime, do you? What does the law say?
You have no obligation to come forward. Generally, you have generally no obligation. You have a civil obligation.
If you see A killing B, you don't have to come.
No, but you could be ordered to come. If the government finds out that you have information about the case, you could be ordered to come testify in court. And that's the difference between a civil case and a criminal case. In the criminal case, actually, we call a material witness order, which if this person says, "I don't want to come to court," they're going to arrest him.
And you told me that you've done that.
It happens all the time because in a lot of these cases, people don't want to testify, especially with shooting cases.
They don't want to testify because they're afraid,
or they don't want to talk to the government about somebody else.
And how do you protect that? What do you do? I mean, it's the valid taina. Shulchan Aruch even discusses that.
Is that afraid?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have we don't have protective custody. We have a lot of other protection we could give them. We could relocate them. We could fight protection. There's a lot of things we could do.
Shulchan Aruch does talk about somebody who's afraid to say testimony against Ka'ilin. Somebody's a bully. There are situations.
So there's ways we could deal with them. That's also
what are the ways?
We provide security, or we could
add the muslight. The bully will wait 6 months and they'll take care of him.
So depending on the case, that's what we have professionals. I don't actually deal with. That's not my department. We have detectives that are in charge of providing security. People, witnesses who need protection. It's called a threat. They give a threat assessment. They analyze the threat that's to them, and they deal with it accordingly. Mm-hmm. Whether it's relocating them or. Well, generally, it's not really an issue. You hear more about that in gang related or people that within the gang. But stranger to stranger, usually very rare that you have someone that doesn't accommodate like that.
Now, one last thing. I know you're very busy. Baruch Hashem, your kids are. Today you're playing not only a lawyer. Today you're playing Tati Mami. It looks like. In Yiddishkeit, it actually says that you have to try to do pshara more than din. Because pshara is more shalom than din. Because din is shoving down somebody's throat while karcha. I don't think there's such a thing in the secular court. Is that right?
I don't use a rule like that, but definitely every single case, strong efforts are made to work the case out before going to trial. Trial is only the last resort. A very small percentage of cases actually go to trial.
Because of what reason?
Because
because of the cost of the trial, or because the
Well,
fact is, there's always one person that's right and one person that's wrong. Is that right?
Well, there's always uncertainty at trial. You never know whether you can get your witnesses or not. You don't know how credible the witnesses are going to appear in front of a jury. You don't know how the jury's going to rule, even if they find them credible. The jury might have rachmanis on the person, even if the person is guilty. So there's always, you can never be certain what's going to come out
So
at trial.
who gains by the pshara in the secular court? Who's-
Everybody gains, depending on the case. You see, some cases the evidence is so strong that they have to that the defense attorney gains by taking a shot. Everybody gains. The court is clear, the court system. There's no reason of trying a case. I mean, everyone has the ultimate right to have the case proven against them, especially in a criminal case. Everyone has a right to have the people prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But save everyone's time and money. And if you can work out a fair agreement based on the facts of the case, how strong the case is, or how weak the case is.
Yeah, but a pshara is also somebody's getting he's bending. Both parties are bending.
Everyone's bending because the uncertainty of what's going to happen at trial. You have to bend. You don't know exactly what's going to happen at trial. A case could appear to be a very weak case in the onset, and then when you go to trial, a witness testifies excellent, and all of a sudden the case turns around.
I want to tell the chevra who are listening, the one thing that really impresses me about Rebbe Yehuda Leib, David Leib, is that even though he's out of the yeshiva system a good 10 years maybe, he's still using the yeshiva shaloshainis, pshara, seder. It's down here. It's down here.
It's ingrained. It's ingrained in the system.
It's a elet medem, and the Eibush should give you koyach to be matzliach, and you should always do the right thing. And one thing that bugs me is by all these people who do these jobs is how you're a prosecutor. Others are others do the fight you. How some people are so b'shat nefesh when there's a chance that somebody could be a killer. How the guy could sleep at night when you know you might have freed somebody who has a good strong chance that I don't want to stand. O.J. Simpson got type of situation, and the guy, there's 99% chance the other machichas that the whole gotcha shevet mentioned. Okay, I don't want to sound racial or anything.
No, I can answer that.
Okay, and give us the last piece of advice.
The main thing in the trial is that's fair. The judge applies the rules, that parties are aware of the rules, and the trial is fair. I mean, even if the defense attorney is protecting the biggest serial murderer out there, that protects every single individual out there. Otherwise, what stops the government from arresting a person and you sit in jail for 15 years and no one's going to protect you? Because you force the government to do their job, it protects everyone else in society.
How did you force the government to do their job?
Well, by forcing them to prove the case at trial.
All right, so when I give the Stam Amcha a piece of advice, legal advice, don't drink and drive.
It's broader than that. Is follow the rules and keep out of trouble.
A Yiddish advice.
That I'll leave to you.
Oh, come on, me and you, B'nai Achem Anachnu. B'nai Achem Anachnu.
Din the Machusa dinner.
Dinner the Malchus dinner, that's true. Oh, yeah, shkoyach.